Yeah, in this attrition-based matchup, every card certainly does matter.
Now, when you're playing against the Amulet Blooms of the world, it's more about do you have the right cards rather than how many cards do you have. But here, a lot of stuff just kind of runs into each other, trades off. And so 5 versus 7 is a huge deficit.
A Marsh Flash is going to start things off here for Willy. Raging Ravine there for some Wook. Willy will sacrifice that flats.
And the big edge for playing Obzon, even though I would say Jun's been more popular on camera, is the matchups where Lingering Souls is good. And now it's not always good because some matchups are too fast and the card's not always impactful enough. But the matchups where it's good, it's among the best cards of Modern. It just does so much in terms of raw card count, in terms of controlling the damage race, that even on 5 cards, it's potentially a way for Willy to claw himself back into this.
Well, Nom's going to have a removal spell right now to take care of this Dark Confidant, because this can actually let Willy get back into the game.
For sure. This is another easy way to recoup a mulligan to 5.
Absolutely. Bloodstained Mire will be sacrificed here. At least down to 19. And there's Overgrown Tomb. So down to 17. See what the big follow-up is here. Well, an Abrupt Decay says no, sir, to Dark Confidant. Pretty important for Sung Wook to have that.
Yep.
Dark Confidant, Temple Garden, pass the turn back. Well, he's operating pretty well right now, I'd say.
Well, he's at least putting his opponent to the test. He's at least demanding the removal spells. And if something happens to stick here, Willy could get this game flipped around pretty quickly.
Terminate in hand here. That's going to take care of Dark Confidant. Treetop Village, pass the turn back. Willy will take a draw step. There's a Tarmogoyf. With some instants and creatures and land in the graveyard. 3-4 right now. A Verdant Catacombs is land number 4 here for Sung Wook. And he'll sacrifice that. Maybe Bloodbraid Elf on the way.
No.
Probably not.
I'm sure Willy would be actually stoked if that happened. It'd be great. Already had Sung Wook on camera. He's 8-2. This would be a weird spot for a ban card. Suppose you never rule it out.
Blood Cripple into the battlefield on tap. 2 damage going to be dealt.
Round 6 is my record for playing in a tournament where someone had an illegal card in their deck and it getting caught.
What card was that?
Man of War.
Oh.
It was extended PTQ many moons ago. He was playing Alurin, and he was 5-1, and someone was finally like, that card's not legal.
A Dark Confidant and Tarmogoyf for passing of the turn. Back to Willy. Such a normal play pattern for Jun. Just removal spell, Bloodbraid Elf, but you can't do that anymore. Here's Liliana. You can still do this.
And you can see why, this is a matchup about raw card count.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stuff just kind of trades or blocks or is hit by a discard spell or removal spell.
Sung Wook going to sacrifice Dark Confidant to the Liliana. Tarmogoyfs are going to stare at each other right now. They are both 3-4s.
Please find your seats.
And Willy will just pass the turn back. Sung Wook with a Lightning Bolt and a Maelstrom Pulse in hand. He'll just have to take a draw since Dark Confidant no longer on the battlefield. Looks like he may have picked up a copy of Liliana. Can't forget about the Kolaghan's command in hand, too.
Liliana the Veil. An excellent draw here.
Yeah.
Might have been a little awkward for Sung Wook to work around the Liliana plus the Tarmogoyf in the same turn. Now it's very easy.
Yeah. Liliana will take care of the Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf will take care of the Liliana. And here we are. Tarmogoyf currently checking in at a 4-5 since the Planeswalker is in the graveyard now. There's another Liliana. That'll take care of Tarmogoyf. Pass that turn back. Maybe a Lightning Bolt will finish off this Liliana here from Sung Wook. We'll see if he wants to cast it or not.
Well, the other side of it is if he draws a land here untapped, he can simply fire up Raging Ravine and keep the Lightning Bolt in hand, which is very efficient.
You can also just get it done with Treetop Village, too.
Exactly, yeah.
Not have to waste the resource.
And you just want to keep all the cards in your hand.
Yeah.
You get the sense that this game, as this matchup typically is this very attrition-based slugfest, and you just don't want to be throwing around cards for no reason.
Liliana going to tick up. It looks like Sung Wook's going to discard a Lightning Bolt. Willy will discard a copy of Verdant Catacombs. Very smart to be holding lands here in this instance. Here's Kolaghan's command. Looks like that'll be finishing off Liliana perhaps, and then picking up a card in Tarmogoyf. We'll see.
Or maybe getting the last card out of Willy's hand.
Sure. Yeah, it takes care of Go for the Throat and Liliana. That's a heck of a Magic card right there. Lightning Bolt still in hand, too.
Now, Willy's playing empty-handed, which is a tough spot to be in, because if he draws a removal spell, that gets tagged before Songwook makes an attack. If it's a creature, well, Songwook has an Edict ready in Liliana.
Here's Tarmogoyf. Songwook going to tick up his Liliana, discard a backup copy of Liliana, and pass the turn back.
Yeah, Songwook just wants to have the most flexibility with Liliana as possible. And if Willy happens to draw a very good creature, he wants to be able to Edict that away and keep the Liliana in play. He doesn't need the second copy of Liliana at this point, as he's committed now to starting to fire up the treetop villages and raging ravines.
His mana is certainly accounted for. Dismember off the top will take care of Tarmogoyf. Songwook will take a draw step. Again, Maelstrom Pulse in hand for him. Active Liliana. And now Treetop Village coming into the red zone. Edel will go down to 16. Liliana will tick up. Discard Blackleaf Cliffs. And away we go. A swamp and passing of the turn. Songwook will tick up his Liliana. There goes Inquisition of Kozilek. Here comes Treetop Village. Pretty simple stuff here. Edel down to 13. Gonna need a good draw here. It's a Liliana. That's gonna tick up. That'll take care of the Maelstrom Pulse.
Liliana, not a shabby draw there for Willy.
Seen worse.
At least gets one card out of the hand and requires some resources from Songwook on the way back.
The Forest makes things a little bit easier here. Can fire up the Raging Ravine. That'll get a counter. That'll take care of Liliana. Songwook's Liliana will take up to 6, threatening the ultimate now. Willy will play a Verdant Catacombs, pass the turn back. The follow-up now is a Dark Confidant. Now Treetop Village will also come in. Puts you down to 10. Liliana going to go up to 7. No interest in ultimate. No need.
I think making Willy discard removal spells or Edict away the creature he draws is more powerful at this stage than anything else.
A Dark Blast off the top. I'll take care of Dark Confidant. Main deck Dark Blast.
Yeah, one copy.
Yeah. Not a lot of people are going to see that coming. I can get behind that. Scavenging Ooze off the top. Here comes Treetop Village. Looking to just grind him down. Edel will take a draw step, and he said, that's enough for me. Songwook's going to win game number 1 here over Willy Edel. Jund up a game over Abzan. Now we take a look at the sideboards, and we'll start with the Abzan board and where Willy Edel will begin.
3 copies of Fulminator Mage, 2 copies of Damnation, a Duress, a Go for the Throat, an Unravel the Aether, a Maelstrom Pulse, 2 copies of Thragtusk, a Golgari Charm, a Nile Spellbomb, a Ghost Quarter, and a copy of Choke. So typically in these kind of matches, you want to be cutting the discard spells. The games go on for a very long time. Players get empty-handed, and the discard spells can be dead draws as you approach the mid-game. So the cards I do like in this matchup, I definitely am a fan of the 1 Maelstrom Pulse, the 2 copies of Thragtusk, and the Nile Spellbomb. Both these decks use their graveyard to some effect. Nile Spellbomb's a low opportunity cost, and there's going to be moments of it being pretty powerful. Go for the Throat, Maelstrom Pulse. There's a bunch of creatures bouncing around. 2 copies of Thragtusk to me, best cards on Willy's sideboard. Game's going for a very long time, and Thragtusk is guaranteed to be worth multiple cards should it ever resolve.
Take a look here at Songwook's sideboard. 3 Feed the Clan, 3 Thunderbreak Regent, a Seal of Primordium, an Outpost Siege, a Sowing Salt, Hater, 3 Fulminator Mage, an Ancient Grudge, a Anger of the Gods, and a Shatterstorm. Love these cards you can go late with, like Outpost Siege.
Yeah, Outpost Siege I think is great for this matchup. I think Thunderbreak Region is for matchups like this. It's outside of Abrupt Decay range. Pretty good numbers. It's a little bit worse here against Willy's deck than it would be in the mirror match because Lingering Souls is reasonable against Thunderbreak Region. That said, I still think it's going to be coming in here. I think it's possible both these players may want some number of Fulminator Mages as well. It's an attrition-based matchup. Fulminator Mage can be pretty awkward to play against, and the Manlands, Treetop Village, and especially Raging Ravine, are among the more important cards in the matchup because things just die, so your lands that can become resources later on in the game are especially valuable.
I'm interested to see if the Thunderbolt creature is going to come in, and if he does bring him in, draws him, what kind of effect they have in the game.
It definitely seems sweet against Jund. In the mirror match, it seems very good. There's some of the same principles going on here. Willy's removal spell is Abrupt Decay. Most of his creatures are on the ground, and so it's going to have spots of being powerful, but Lingering Souls makes it a little bit more tricky.
We are, of course, looking for your questions here at SCG Live, hashtag GPCharlotte all weekend long. You can send them directly to me at Cedric A. Phillips or to Patrick at Basic Mountain is Namsung Wook. And Willy Edel will shuffle up here for game number 2. Jund able to take care of Abzan. One timely mulligans there for Edel. But feels like Abzan, thanks to Lingering Souls, has a pretty good matchup here.
It's the best card in either player's deck for this kind of matchup. Whenever I was playing with Lingering Souls decks, and I was playing one of the fair matchups where Lingering Souls is powerful, every time I drew a Lingering Souls, my eyes bugged out. I couldn't believe how much value I was getting out of one card. Always super good. And sometimes we've seen Jund players play cards even like Thundermaw Hellkite because Lingering Souls is so powerful in this kind of matchup.
Willy actually one of the players doing that when he was playing Jund.
Yep. Is it Staticaster shows up in sideboards for much the same reason? I mean, that card's trying to do work against a number of things, but Lingering Soul is definitely a factor.
Charles Smith wondering, what was our most unexpected card to be considered a modern staple recently? That's a pretty good question, actually.
Yep. I don't know. I'd have to think about that some because unexpected there's so many different ways. You can look at some combo pieces like Amulet of Vigor or Azusa, that certainly qualifies. If you're talking about a nuts and bolts card that happens to be good in the metagame, for whatever reason, that I would have to think about it for a little bit longer.
Actually, oddly enough, taking a look at Sungwook's sideboard, I actually have one I can point out and Feed the Clan.
Feed the Clan's a good choice.
I did not really expect that card to see play in much of anything.
Yep.
And I remember on the Open Series when Gerard Fabiano had a couple of those in his sideboard, we were just like, what the heck are those doing there? And they turned out to be pretty potent, and then people started adopting that card across multiple formats.
Yep. Also depends how you define staple. For me, Unravel the Aether is kind of a surprise addition, but it's so important for these green attrition decks to be able to shuffle away Keranos.
Yeah.
Because you can't remove the thing. But it's 1 or 2 copies in sideboard, so I don't know if you call that a staple or not. It's sort of a broad question, so hard to give a concise answer.
Willy searches up a Temple Garden off that Verdant Catacombs. Game number 2 is underway. Sungwook just starting with the Raging Ravine. He's looking to fire that up much later in the game. Lingering Souls in hand there for Willy. An overgrown 2 minutes of battlefield tapped at a passing of the turn. A Graven Cairns. Don't see that one very often. Here's Dark Confidant. Now Edel will take a draw step. Does he have land number 3? He does for Twilight Mire, and there is Liliana in the Veil. That'll take her a Dark Confidant, and Edel will pass the turn back.
Can appreciate getting the original Graven Cairns. That looks good.
Future Sight, baby. Thunderbreak Regent the draw. Had a feeling they were going to come in.
Yep. Again, probably not as good here as they would be in the mirror match, but I think still more than good enough to bring in.
Dark Confidant, overgrown 2 minutes of battlefield tap. Pass that turn back over to Edel. Edel will take a draw step. We'll see if he's got another answer there to Dark Confidant. One of the things about splashing white is I feel you have less clean answers to Dark Confidant.
You're down Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be casting Path to Exile on this thing.
Down
early on in the game.
Down Terminate, too.
Yeah, you're also down Terminate.
Now, Willy does have access to a card like Go for the Throat, I believe, in his deck. So he does have some removal. His Thunderbrick Region has been discarded. Lingering Souls on Edel's side. You know what that is.
Combo.
Yes, sir. And Urborg will allow Willy to flash back. And now a Dismember will take care of that. Now, Willy actually has a copy of Damnation in hand. Perhaps a little bit of a setup here.
Yep. He's probably the more controlling deck of the 2 in the matchup because of Lingering Souls. So you might be able to leverage that card better than the Namsung would have been able to on the other side. And often this kind of matchup is just about who has the most cards that matter. And Damnation definitely qualifies. 4 mana to kill 1 creature is not that shabby, and there's going to be spots for it to be excellent.
Chandra Power Master in hand here for Namsung Wook, but no 4th land, unfortunately. Could start gunning down Lingering Souls tokens and going to work on that Liliana, but things did not work out very well. Edel will take a draw step here. Got 2 Spirit tokens on the battlefield. Tasker in hand. That Damnation too. It looks like he may have just picked up another copy of Lingering Souls. So getting to work with the Spirit tokens.
Lingering Souls is so punishing against decks like
It's
Judge.
no joke in this matchup. It's so good.
How good is your removal? Not very.
Yep.
How effectively can you attack or block? Not effectively.
Yep. Some people forget this card was so good it was banned in its block constructed format.
And prompted R&D to design numerous cards.
Yeah.
Is it Staticaster, Thunderbreak Regent, Legion Loyalist?
Yep.
All these designs came down the pipeline out of concerns about how good this card was. Now, when the card pool gets big, just good, slow value, well, there's going to be some matches where that doesn't really apply. Play against Amulet, this is not helping you very much. But in the normal matchups, it's among Modern's best card, if not Modern's best card.
You would think that just a couple of spirit tokens, what's the big deal? But it's a pretty big deal. Liliana's going to cash in here to take care of the scavenging ooze, it appears. Sung Wook's going to eat a Dark Confidant to gain a little bit of life on his way out the door. And now here's Tassiger. Edel will have to delve 2 here.
I like the sequencing here from Willy. You might just ask, why not just cast another copy of Lingering Souls? Well, he's mindful of Maelstrom Pulse, and with the 2 Souls tokens in play, it means Liliana the Veil is not an answer to Tassiger. And if Namsung wants to spend his turn casting Terminate, well, that's probably most, if not all, of his turn, and you get to untap and attack him again and go about your business. So
A great
like
way to
not-
reload post-damnation, too.
Yep.
So you're in favor of this play.
I like this play a lot. And now what Willy has set up here is he has a 4/5 Tassiger. He can attack into the 4/4, obviously. 2 Souls tokens in play, and he can sit there just activating Tassiger until he's ready to cast Damnation. This is a very sound setup that Willy has set up this game.
Tassiger will come across into the red zone. Thunderbreak Regent certainly can't block it. Well, I guess it can.
I mean, yeah, once.
It can. It can block it. Abrupt Decay the draw.
Super Sunday Series players, if you have not already done so,
Sung Wook with the Chandra in hand. Also another copy of Thunderbreak Regent too, so things get a little interesting here. There's another dragon. First one's going to come into the red zone.
What's so awesome about what Willy has set up here is that he doesn't even have to move on Damnation yet. The race is still fine. He might get another creature out of this whole thing.
Abrupt Decay has been brought back from Tassiger. I'm sure Willy, too, would love to be able to play Damnation plus something in the same turn. Yeah, Damnation plus X to actually clear the board and then take the initiative. Might be Maelstrom Pulse time. Boom.
This is not bad either.
Yeah. Boom, baby. Yeah, Tasker will not
Whoa,
be done.
yes.
Yeah. Thunderbreak Regent, it goes upstairs.
Yeah.
Can't kill your creature, my friend. It's not that good. It's pretty good, but it's not that good. Here are the beatdowns. Sung Wook will untap those 4 lands. Take a draw. Picked up a Verdant Catacombs. Here's Chandra. And take care of that spirit token. And this was kind of my concern for a little bit. It was if Willy did cast the Damnation, then Sung Wook would be able to
Follow up with
Chandra, and then he's kind of ahead. But that's not the case now because I think Willy can just kind of work that thing down. And then the Damnation becomes almost too good.
Yeah. Now, Willy's got this game covered in numerous directions.
Yeah, I really like his position.
Yeah,
here.
he's done a great job of, well, no matter what Namsung does, I have an answer or I have some sort of strategic plan to work around it.
I'm not going to surprise you that he knows his way around a black-green mirror. Really specializes in playing these decks. You think of some players who specialize in certain decks across formats. For Edel, he really loves playing these black-green decks. He knows how to get his edge, and his sideboard is certainly built a certain way to get an edge against Jund. Here's Lingering Souls. 2 spirit tokens, pass that turn back.
A somewhat awkward turn there, but with Willy at 10, he does kind of have to worry about the beatdowns. He takes a shot from Chandra. Raging Ravine's available on the other side of the table. You're playing against a deck with lightning bolts in them. So I'm sure that he would have preferred to have 5 mana that turn so we could cast Souls and Flashback all in one shot, or maybe do something else entirely. But I appreciate the instinct of just get 2 blockers into play. So if Namsung decides to use Chandra and attack, you still have 1 chump blocker left over. You can finish off Chandra next turn and go about your business.
You kind of just want to get this game over with.
Yeah,
if you can.
And he also just doesn't want to get punked out. He's definitely got a huge resource advantage right now, but his life total, 10 is high, but if he takes a Raging Ravine hit and a shot from Chandra, all of a sudden it gets a little scary because it looks like Willy's not going to be able to win the game, that quickly. It's probably going to take several turns. So I like making some effort to insulate his life total a little bit here.
You start working yourself in the lightning bolt range all of a sudden.
Right, yeah, you just don't want the game getting into that kind of spot.
Chandra going to take down Spirit Token and put Willy down to 9. And we've seen enough games across multiple formats when doing coverage. I think of, Legacy and Team Delver where it's, I'm at 6, I hope you know 2, I'm dead.
Yep.
2 lightning bolts. That happens a lot. There's Liliana. Wow, it's a good turn there.
Great turn.
Abrupt Decay takes care of a Spirit Token. Chandra takes care of a Spirit Token. Liliana takes care of Tasker. Now all of a sudden there are 2 Planeswalkers in play.
Yeah, and if there's any vulnerability to the plan that Willy has laid out here, it's Planeswalkers. He's got a lot of removal for creatures, and Lingering Souls is great there as well, but now at this point he just has to flood the board with 1 toughest creatures in the face of Chandra and just hope for the best.
Dark Confidant and a flashback of Lingering Souls. That's Edel's turn. And keep in mind, because he's not playing a card like Siege Rhino, no way to gain life.
Yep. He does have 2 copies of Scavenging Ooze.
Take it back. Thank you very much.
But that's not as impactful or easy as Siege Rhino makes it.
A little slow.
Yeah. Liable to just get killed.
Yep. I always forget about old Scavenging Ooze. Such a good card in these decks. Wasn't around when I was playing Jund.
Yeah.
Liliana ticking up. Sungwook is going to discard Tarmogoyf. There goes Damnation. That plan's out the window.
Well, Willy needs to generate a board of creatures to be able to attack these Planeswalkers down. So trying to set up Damnation at this point is not tenable.
Dark Confidant bites the dust. Thanks to Chandra. Edel going to take 1. He's down to 8. And now, Tasker here.
It's been big turn after big turn here for Namsung. I thought that Willy did a great job of sculpting the game the way that he wanted. The Maelstrom Pulse on the 2 copies of Thunderbreak Region was excellent, but Chandra has been a huge headache.
Samsung has conveniently left 3 copies of Thunderbreak Region in the graveyard to potentially get back. Now, I did mention that Willy doesn't have a great way to gain life, but I'm actually going to take that back twice. You mentioned Scavenging Ooze. He has a copy of Thragtusk in hand. So
yeah, he's been stuck on 4 mana for a while here.
Pardon me. There's Liliana. That's timely. Well, you might see a Raging Ravine activation and sacrifice that maybe, but it'll just be a Tasker activation. Overgrown Tomb and Outpost Siege. Outpost Siege feels a little slow. I think I'd be okay giving that back.
Well, it sort of depends on what the removal left over in Willy's hand is, but that card matters a lot. It's looking like this game is shaping up to go on for a pretty long time. And Chandra's already creating some problems. And Willy has been flooding the board with 1 toughest creatures, which has been compelling Chandra to plus here. But Namsung could easily pivot and start zeroing and just play the attrition and card advantage game if he wants to. And Outpost Siege fits in very nicely to that sort of game plan, too.
He's going to give back, Outpost Siege. Leave those dragons in the graveyard for now. Now Tasker is going to bite the dust.
I mean, clearly Willy cares about that less than the dragon for the time being, but that Outpost Siege definitely matters.
Yeah. I think if you're Willy here, you're in this weird spot where I probably just have to kill Liliana.
I mean, that's about the best this is going to get. But it's going to be an ugly turn on the way back because you're going to lose a Souls token and your Liliana to the Chandra activation, and then Outpost Siege enters play.
Or maybe just Raging Ravine fires up.
Yeah, that's also a possibility here.
There's the Siege.
And I like the Outpost Siege much better in this spot for 2 reasons. One is, Willy could have something like Dismember or Murderous Cut, and then your turn's a disaster. The other is, if you respect the possibility of Siege Rhino or Thragtusk or a card like that, Willy could easily undo your damage racing. You attack with Raging Ravine, he untaps to play something big, and now you can't attack on the follow-up, most likely, or it's harder to, and your Outpost Siege is getting stranded. Just get this done first, and then start using your mana on Raging Ravine if that comes up.
Yeah, especially because he does have Thragtusk in hand, which Wook doesn't know about, but I can certainly see what you're saying there, where, you know, fire up Raging Ravine, okay, go down to 4, play Thragtusk, go up to 9, and I have a blocker available now.
The argument to be aggressive, though, is that you have Chandra in play, so you can plus Chandra and make something large unable to block.
Yep.
But Willy could still conceivably life gain you out of your damage race, and Outpost Siege is a much safer play.
Willy goes down to 6 and then up to 11 thanks to Thragtusk. Outpost Siege will reveal a Verdant Catacombs. That'll be the land for Wook.
Ricky Hayashi to the GP stage, please. Ricky Hayashi to the GP
Chandra's
stage.
taking out to take care of a Lingering Souls token. And now here's a Tarmogoyf. We'll do a size check on that in just a moment, as Willy will untap. Take a draw here. A copy of Go for the Throat in hand, but we'll use Abrupt Decay. Maybe. Yep.
Yeah, wants to keep Go for the Throat in hand for cards like Thunderbreak Region and Tassiger.
Yep. Raging Ravine too.
Yep.
If it ever comes down to that. Just Thragtusk ready to get busy.
And if you're getting a sense of Namsong's plan here, it looks to be play as many 4-mana permanents as possible. So
Yeah,
catch
that
in the Abrupt Decay while the getting's
That
good.
actually appears to be the case, yeah.
I'm looking for Tristan Killeen.
Terminator took care of the Thragtusk, Beast token left behind. Here's a Tarmogoyf. You'll note that that attack there by Willy was going straight towards Wook and not the Chandra.
Yep.
So I want to get you dead. Let's see what Outpost Siege reveals. Raging Ravine. Wook will draw a card for the turn. Might even push the 0 button on the Chandra. We'll see. Gonna start by playing the Ravine, it appears. Maybe not. You see Tarmogoyf say 4 or 5. Might be actually be a 5-6 here. It is.
Got to be a Planeswalker by now.
Yeah. Gonna push the 0 button on the Chandra. Ghost Quarter. Don't think that's what the doctor ordered.
I mean, Namsong just needs removal, removal, removal. He may have to try to block with Raging Ravine next turn, in fact.
Here's the Liana. We'll take care of the Beast token. Ravine is the land of choice. That means Ghost Quarter will be exiled and a passing of the turn. So Wook has this card advantage going that'll allow him to maybe catch up here.
But it's not guaranteed, is the thing. I mean, Chandra Outpost Siege are very powerful, but you know, you saw that turn. Outpost Siege reveals the land, which is not what it really needs. Chandra reveals the land. So he's down one of the activations, and the other extra card wasn't that valuable to begin with.
What's interesting here is we saw the Thragtusk just go after Wook a couple turns ago. Will that be the case with the Tarmogoyf, or will he say, you know what? I'm going to slow down this Chandra here, actually. Get this off the table. He's going to change and go towards the Planeswalker now. There's Dark Confidant.
And that might have what tipped the scales. If Willy didn't have the Confidant before, maybe he's still trying to race, but now this frees him up to play Dark Confidant against an opponent with no hand.
Treetop Village, the real Outpost Siege. Wook will take a draw.
These games are a slugfest.
Yeah. They're always back and forth like this. There's nothing quick about them, really. You know, maybe the only time it's really quick is when mana issues are involved.
Right.
Raging Ravine, Trigger, Red Zone, go for the throat. Just, I don't think so.
That's a pretty painful turn there for Namsung.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's just hoping to race here potentially.
Lightning Bolt will take care of Dark Confidant. Liliana going to tick up. Willy going to lose his other Dark Confidant. Both players are empty-handed.
One's gone out post-siege.
Yep. Samsung is hoping for Willy to brick off here. Tarmogoyf's got to go after Liliana. What's the follow-up? That's a big draw.
Huge.
Yep. Tassiger is huge there by Willy Edel. Really going to delve away quite a few cards. A Damnation, a Maelstrom Pulse, perhaps. A couple copies of Dark Confidant.
If Willy draws a land there and Namsung found a way to answer Tarmogoyf, this game is really turned around.
Yeah.
Now, Willy still may be able to close this out. He's definitely the beatdown at this point.
Yeah.
He does not want this game to go on for that much longer against this outpost siege.
The longer it goes, it seems like the worse it is.
Yeah, I mean, Namsung's drawing 2 cards a turn to his 1.
Yep.
So it's not good for this game to go on for a long time.
Time for Namsung to untap. Reveal. Tarmogoyf.
Huge.
Take a draw. Something like maybe Tarmogoyf Abrupt Decay. That combination of cards could be really, really good here. Gonna start by casting Tarmogoyf. Pass that turn back. Get a Tasker activation. Liliana and Windswept Teeth are the cards that are placed in the graveyard. Give back a Tasker. Edel untap. He's got a draw step coming. Tasker in hand, of course. Don't get a great look at it. Oh, now we do. Now we do.
I mean, this is not the end of the world for Namsung because he can activate one of his expendable Treetop Village or Raging Ravine style cards in response, but another great draw here for Willy.
Yep. The activation does take place on Treetop Village, and that's what Sung Wook does sacrifice. So Tarmogoyf is still out there as a 5/6, holding down the fort. Again, remember, Edel's other card, or excuse me, only card in hand is a Tassiger. So it doesn't even appear there are even any good attacks here. Tarmogoyf's so big, it could just eat Tassiger. Or maybe Willy's okay with that. Says, attack with both of my creatures, you eat my Tassiger, you take 5 from Tarmogoyf.
Yep.
Put you down to 4, replay Tassiger, say go. But that does not appear to be the case. So, we're heading back Sung Wook's way. Reveal. Scavenging Ooze. Take a draw. Looks like it may have been a Grim Lavamancer.
I think Lightning Bolt was the card picked up there.
Perhaps. Red card either way. Scavenging Ooze is a good draw. Oh, he might be feeling it with his Tarmogoyf.
Well, if Willy double blocks, you just kill Tassiger. And if he just blocks with Tarmogoyf, you bolt it post-combat. I think the problem is that with the second Tassiger in hand, it's too easy for Willy to say, all right, I'll double block.
Mm-hmm. He's almost incentivized to
Yeah,
double block.
yeah. It's so if the card in his hand was unknown, maybe it'd be different, but
Sung Wook going to sacrifice his Verdant Catacombs. He had been holding that for a while, as it was tapping for mana anyway because Urborg's in play.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's got a reason to sacrifice it. Going to get a basic forest, which will make the ooze a little bit better. Access to 3 green mana right now. And he's going to use it right now. Says, get rid of that Thragtusk. I'll gain a life. See what's next. Just going to pass the turn back. Work on growing that ooze. Edel will draw a card. You have to imagine he's looking for something like Lingering Souls right now.
That would be a huge draw.
Yeah.
Almost always a huge draw. He found a lot of them early on in the game, but Chandra did so much work,
Yeah, really
whittling
did.
him down. A couple fringe players from Standard really having a huge impact.
Absolutely.
And you can see just how much the ubiquity of Abrupt Decay informs how other people build their decks.
Yep.
Because a lot of the oddballs that Namsong is bringing to the table are about beating Abrupt Decay decks.
They're expensive cards.
Yeah.
But if you can get them in play and get yourself in a position like this, life is pretty good. Outpost Siege, Chandra, those are the kind of cards that can run away with things. I know he's used all of his Thunderbreak regions, unfortunately, but those cards mattered too.
That's why I love Abrupt Decay being a marquee removal spell in the format, because there's all these oddball 4-mana cards that show up that I don't think would if the removal was all Terminates and Go for the Throats and Maelstrom Pulses and so forth.
And it's a really good card.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
The card's awesome, but it's awesome in a way that I think is good for gameplay.
Dark Confidant has arrived. Liliana, that's going to tick up. Both players ready to discard. The other Tasker in Edel's hand is gone now. Now it looks like it's time for Old Ooze to grow. Going to remove some creatures from the graveyard here. Gain some life in the process. Tie game at 10-10, but not for long. Give it another Ooze activation. Sung Wook's going to move to 11. Ooze is going to grow into a 5/5. It's the kind of card that can run away with the game now.
Yep. It's going to outgrow Tarmogoyf very soon.
Yep. Blackcleave Cliffs is the reveal to Outpost Siege. And it's funny because you might look at the reveals to Outpost Siege and say, well, you know, his reveals haven't been very good, but it's the fact that he's just getting to go through his deck.
And even the lands with Raging Ravines and Treetop Villages and Scavenging Oozes, they have more value than it appears on the surface. And it's just my 2 cards against your 1 card. And once Willy has 1, maybe 2 bad draw steps, just hits a land or a removal spell that doesn't do anything, that's when he gets buried by this. He's drawn action here for a couple turns in a row, and that's allowing him to keep up, but you can only do that for so long.
We know, unless things go really bad, that Sung Wook is going to draw probably more action than Willy will. Just 2 cards is more than 1. Ooze going to come with the beatdown to some Maelstrom Pulse, take care of Tassiger. Now Lightning Bolt's going to take care of Dark Confidant. Now Edel's just left with the Tarmogoyf.
And that's the turn where you see the damage that Outpost Siege has done.
Yep.
It just, Namsong just had more leftovers, and Willy was just kind of barely holding on. And now it's a lot versus a little. And Namsong had a comfortable life total.
And all Willy can do is reluctantly pass back the turn. As Scavenging Ooze is going to go to work on some more creatures here and continue to grow. And you said, what feels like many turns ago, get that Outpost Siege online. We're going to play quite a few turns here, and that has certainly been the case.
Yeah, he has extracted a lot of value out of this thing.
Dark Confidant the reveal. Scavenging Ooze is 7/7. Presenting lethal. Tarmogoyf is going to have to chump block that thing. Dark Confidant will be deployed. And if the power of Jund was ever in doubt, it seems as though Willy Edel has built a deck here in Abzan that is geared towards winning the black-green matchups, and he was not able to get it done. Namsong Wook is going to win this match here over Willy Edel, 2-0. Jund is here to stay, taking care of Abzan and those Lingering Souls.
That all the oddballs came out there for Namsong. The Chandra Pyromaster was awesome. I think he would have lost that game straight up to Lingering Souls had that not been available.
I think so.
Thunderbreak Regent was pretty impactful.